The way relationships were designed, they were to bring glory to God. In too many relationships, God is not being honored. Instead, people are honoring themselves, and they're not making relationships look as beautiful as they should. In fact, they're making relationships look ugly by how they're acting inside of the relationship. They're looking for them to be all about them and what they want and not caring about the other person inside the relationship. It becomes a one-sided affair. That's never good because one of the people who is involved gets caught up in what we may call a toxic relationship. And the toxic relationship is never good in a relationship. The Relationship Therapy Podcast will explain what is a toxic relationship and what are the signs of toxic relationships.
You've tuned into the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr., a podcast designed for couples who are married, couples who are dating, and have marriage in their future. We will guide you to the principles that will make your relationship better. Stick around. You might just learn something that will help your relationship last longer, grow stronger, and become healthier. Now, here's your host, Tony Miller Sr.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Relationship Therapy Podcast. I want to thank all of my listeners. I have surpassed the 2,000 downloads, and I'm excited for what we're going to be doing in the future. So keep on listening, keep on sharing, keep on commenting, letting me know what you're thinking. Do you disagree? Do you like what we're saying? And so forth and so on. In this episode, we will expose the ugly side of relationships. These relationships are not healthy at all. They cause so much damage to the individual that they may never want to enter into another relationship for the rest of their lives. This is going to be a 3-part series so that we can understand more about toxic relationships. In this episode, we will be talking about what are the signs of toxic relationships. Next week, we're going to discuss how to end toxic relationships. And then finally, we're going to end up in the new year talking about how to recover from toxic relationships. But before we go into the meat of this week's episode, let me give you the definition of what a toxic relationship is. A toxic relationship is a relationship that makes you feel unsupported, misunderstood, demeaned, or even attacked, and in some cases, restrained. A relationship that is toxic, it takes away your well-being and it threatens you in some type of way, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of this message. As we begin to talk about toxic relationships, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the signs of toxic relationships. So let's first start with number 1. You feel devalued and depleted. In toxic relationships, it can be very perplexing to find yourself in a place of constant hurt and pain. The sad part is you will also be experiencing of being devalued and depleted. This relationship has drained the life out of you. Your significant other on many occasions has trapped you in dangerous mindsets of not having value and not even wanting it. When a person doesn't feel valued, they will act the part that they feel. When all we want is some type of value placed in our relationships, Those who are in toxic relationships, you quickly become devoid of that value. The abrasive person continues to pull what you thought out of you and begins placing what they think in you. Not only is there devaluing happening in these toxic relationships, but there is also depletion. For the individual, it is forced upon you. You really don't have a choice as long as you're in that relationship. They feel insignificant, as if they don't have a voice. Their life seems meaningless because they're not receiving what is essential for the existence of people. See, people need to have some type of value. They don't need to be depleted. They need to have some substance in their life. It's needed, especially in relationships. But when that happens, this leads the person to not having any worth at all. People who don't have any self-worth starts making bad decisions for their life. These decisions could lead them thinking that their only way out might just be death. In most toxic relationships, the aggressor is trying to eliminate the other person from getting outside interference to change the outlook of that individual. They block people from their lives. That's why it's important to try to keep some kind of contact with the outside world inside that relationship. It can be your parents, it can be family, it can be friends, it can even be coworkers. But for the sake of your sanity, maybe even for your life, keep an outside contact so that you can have a voice and tell people what's going on. Number two, as we deal with these toxic relationships, here's the second sign. Your self-esteem is extremely low. When you have low self-esteem and it's pushed on you by your significant other, you may find yourself that I need to be here. But in toxic relationships, the aggressor begins to take advantage of you. So much so that you begin to fade in the background of the relationship. This happens so frequently that you develop low self-esteem. Your opinions no longer matter. Your point of view in life no longer is respected. You are just existing in this world. And that is so much different than what you expected life to be, especially in a relationship. What you have to say about a certain situation doesn't matter anymore. Low self-esteem takes away your voice. It takes away your ability to have an opinion on other matters. It hits you so bad that you don't even bother to try to give your input anymore. Your voice has been drowned out so long that you may not even recognize that you still have a voice. Having low self-esteem is not a problem within itself, but it's a major problem when it's forced upon you by your mate inside of a toxic relationship. Someone who you thought was the love of your life has stifled your growth, as well as eliminated your joy. You're living in a world that seemingly no longer needs to hear from you. And being in this position can lead you to a place of stress, a place of loneliness, and even possibly depression. This is not what you should be a part of. This is not what love is. Truth of the matter, it has never been what love is about. So we've talked about you feel devalued and depleted. Number two, we talked about your self-esteem is extremely low. Let's push on to number three, and that is you really don't have control. Sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship, you may become clueless to the fact that you're not in control of your own life. You discover that your decisions are not really your decisions. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Often we're giving options in order to make decisions in life. But when you're in a toxic relationship, you're not giving options. Instead, you're told this is the way it's supposed to be. This is how it is. In other words, it's their way or the highway. And the highway usually means some type of physical confrontation or even an isolation from them. But you have decided to be in compliance so that you cannot feel the brunt of the attacks. In these toxic relationships, you really are a prisoner to the whims of your mate. Have you ever met a woman who seems to dress out of her age group? You know, somebody who may be dressing more conservatively than they normally do? It's because their significant other is now calling all the shots, telling them what they can wear, how they can wear it, controlling the places they go, as well as controlling who they can and cannot talk with. You're not in control of your own life anymore. And it feels like someone is dictating to you when you can come and when you can go. On average, this happens to women more than it does men. The woman is being controlled by her mate who thinks that they know better for them. They have stipulated that they don't want you around certain people because they know these people will recognize what's happening in your relationship. You have to go to them to ask for money. When you do get a chance to go somewhere on your own, you have a time limit that you have to be back home. All of these are signs of being controlled by your mate. This is not what real love looks like. Real love is freeing. Real love is not restricting. This is where you don't need to be. And here's number 4. Toxic communication is used. This final one is called toxic communication for a reason. People will use a type of communication to keep you from moving from where you are into where you're supposed to be. The old saying that words don't hurt is not true. Words hurt, especially when coming from someone you care about or the person that you love. It is taking you to a new level when this person uses communication to hold you down. The type of speech you hear in toxic relationships are designed to have power over you. And as we talked about it in previous points, control over you. People can take words and push you to start believing what they've been saying and make it look like it's totally true. It's not true, but it has been delivered to your ear over and over and over again till you finally accept it as truth. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Toxic people will continuously call you wrong, so much so that you start believing that you're wrong yourself. What we are constantly told over and over again, especially by someone we trust and love, we can't help but to begin believe it's true. Or they even may use harsh words like shut up or yelling at us and making it seem like we're their child. They are true manipulators, and they love manipulating you with their mouths. Their words will shame you by commenting about your body shape or name calling or other ways of communicating that they are in control of this situation. They destroy your confidence by constantly saying that you cannot do or highlighting the weaknesses that you have. This will rob you of your ability to move on without them. And you constantly will need their commands so that you can start living how they want you to. Let me say this. Being the loudest voice in the room is another tactic that they use because it tends to intimidate you into going along just because of the way it is being stated in a forceful way. Following and living like this is not what being in relationships is all about. However, there are many who are stuck in these type of relationships and they don't know how to remove themselves from it. In next week's episode, we're going to talk about how to end toxic relationships because that is not where you're supposed to be. So remember the 4 signs that we talked about. There are many other signs, but we wanted to just highlight a few in this episode. Number 1, you feel devalued and depleted. Number 2, your self-esteem is extremely low. Number 3, you really don't have control. And number 4, toxic communication is used. Just know, if you fall into any of these signs, get out. Get out as fast as you can, because all it's going to do is continue to control you, continue to keep you in low self-esteem, continue to have you as somebody else's whipping post. You have to get out of it, and we're going to show you how to do that next week. That's all we've got for you today. But as always, remember, it takes 2 to make a relationship work.
Thank you for listening to the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Tune in next time for more insight on how to make your relationship better. If you have any questions, please email us at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, it takes 2 to make the relationship work.